Get ready to lace up your boots as we take you on an exhilarating Skeleton Gorge guided hike on Table Mountain in Cape Town, South Africa, with the one and only accredited guide, Muki Venture. From lush forests to breathtaking vistas, this trail promises adventure, discovery, and stories that linger long after. Whether you're craving a serene escape or a heart-pounding trek, Muki Venture is your ultimate guide to unlocking the magic of Skeleton Gorge. Welcome to #TMP, the ultimate travel and tour hub where you can book your stay and adventures worldwide. Stay tuned. Our resident tour guide will break it all down, step by step. Trust us, you don't want to miss this adventure.
All right, so today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the Skeleton Gorge hike on Table Mountain.
Oh, yeah!
You're looking to tackle this iconic trail.
Right.
And luckily, we've got some great information from a guide service called Muki Venture, who...
They know it well.
Yeah, they really know the area well.
Yeah, this isn't just a casual stroll in the park, though.
Okay.
It's known for its beauty, of course, but it can also be a bit of a challenge, especially if you're going solo.
Yeah, I love a good challenge. And I'm looking at the source material here, and it mentions starting in Kirstenbosch Botanical Gardens.
Beautiful gardens.
Yeah, and then heading up into this gorge.
Right.
It sounds incredible. But paint me a picture here. What makes this hike so special?
Okay, so picture yourself surrounded by thousands of species of plants in the Kirstenbosch Gardens.
Wow.
Some of which are only found in that area. And as you ascend, you'll find yourself going through these Afromontane forests.
Okay.
Crossing charming wooden bridges and navigating alongside some cascading waterfalls.
You had me a waterfall.
It's a diverse ecosystem, each with its own unique feel.
Okay, so you mentioned challenge.
Yes.
What exactly does that mean? I'm an enthusiastic hiker, but definitely not an expert mountaineer.
Sure, so Muki Venture really specializes in making this adventure accessible.
Okay.
They adjust the pace to the group, and they have very supportive guides, especially for those who are new to this type of terrain.
Okay.
They do emphasize that you should be reasonably fit, though.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what's the secret sauce here? What does a guided hike with Muki Venture offer that I wouldn't get if I just did this on my own?
Well, they really focus on education.
Oh, wow.
They're not just about getting you to the summit. They want to teach you about the mountain secrets.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, so you'll learn about the flora and the fauna of the area,
Right.
like the Disa uniflora orchid that only blooms in these really specific rocky, wet areas.
Oh, wow.
And they'll also point out things that you'd probably miss if you were alone,
Oh.
like the remnants of old stone structures that were built by the Khoi people centuries ago.
Wow, so you're really getting a historical and ecological lesson as you go.
Absolutely, it really adds another layer.
But with a challenging hike like this, safety's a concern.
Right, and that's something that Muki Venture really prioritizes.
Okay.
They equip their guides for anything.
Okay.
From basic first aid to those sudden weather changes that happen on Table Mountain.
Yeah.
Their experience and preparation really takes the stress out of it.
Okay, good. So if I'm sold on this idea of a guided hike, what exactly is included? What am I getting for my money?
Well, you're getting expert navigation through some pretty tricky terrain.
Yeah.
You're getting all the knowledge about the mountain's history, the ecology, the hidden gems.
Right.
And you also have that peace of mind that you're with somebody who knows the area.
Okay. That sounds like a good deal to me.
Yeah.
Now I have to ask about families with kids.
Yeah, sure.
Is this something that kids can handle?
Muki Venture is very family friendly.
Okay.
They welcome children aged 10 and up.
Okay.
As long as they're in decent shape and ready for an adventure.
All right. So for those listening who are ready to book their own Skeleton Gorge adventure, what's the best way to do that?
Head straight to the Muki Venture website or give them a call.
Okay.
They're very responsive and book in advance, especially if it's peak season.
Okay.
Spots fill up really quickly.
Great advice. Now, before we move on, is there anything else from this overview of Muki Venture and their approach that we should cover?
Well, we've talked about logistics and safety,
Yeah.
but we haven't talked about the emotional impact of this hike.
Okay.
Reaching the summit after pushing yourself
Right.
through this challenging and beautiful terrain.
Yeah.
It's really an incredible feeling.
Yeah.
It's a sense of accomplishment,
Right.
but it's also about connecting with nature and the history of the landscape.
Absolutely. So before we move on and get into the specifics of the hike,
Yeah.
let's all take a moment and imagine ourselves at the summit taking in those panoramic views.
Exactly. And really let that feeling sink in, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're back and ready to hit the trail. We've talked about the big picture, but now I want to get into the specifics of the Skeleton Gorge hike. The source material uses some pretty cool language. Forested pathways, charming wooden bridges, even scaling small waterfalls. It really gets the imagination running. So can you walk me through what it's actually like to hike this trail?
It's really a journey through different worlds. You start in the beauty of Kirstenbosch, with all those exotic plants from around the world.
Yeah.
But as you enter the gorge, things change dramatically.
Oh, okay.
You're immersed in this cool, damp, almost primeval forest with towering trees and this dappled sunlight effect.
I can picture the rays of light hitting the moss-covered rocks and the sound of the water nearby.
Yes, exactly.
Sounds magical.
It is.
So what about those bridges and waterfalls?
Oh, yeah.
Are they as adventurous as they sound?
Oh, absolutely. The wooden bridges add a real sense of whimsy, especially when you're crossing rushing streams and deep ravines. And the waterfall, well, they're not Niagara Falls, but they're definitely a thrill.
Right.
You're scrambling over slick rocks, feeling that spray on your face.
Wow.
It's exhilarating.
So it's this mix of beauty and challenge. It sounds like a real test of your limits.
It is.
But in the best way possible.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about the journey up.
Right.
But what about the summit itself? Everyone says the views are incredible, but what else makes reaching the top of Table Mountain so special?
Reaching the summit is transformative.
Okay.
You emerge from this rugged gorge.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're on top of the world.
Wow.
You have this 360-degree view.
Okay.
You see Cape Town, the Atlantic Ocean, the mountains.
It sounds breathtaking.
It's more than just a view, though.
Okay.
It's a feeling. It's a sense of accomplishment of having pushed yourself and being rewarded.
So I'm officially sold.
Great.
But how long does this hike actually take?
Good question.
I need to plan accordingly, right?
You do. Muki Venture estimates it takes about 4 to 6 hours. But of course, that can vary depending on the group's case and how much time you want to spend at the top.
Right.
And trust me, you'll want to spend some time up there.
Of course, it's all about savoring the experience.
Exactly.
So we can't stay up there forever.
Right.
What about the descent? Is it the same way back down, or is there a different trail?
That's where things get interesting.
Okay.
You have options.
All right, I like options.
You can go down the same route through Skeleton Gorge, which is challenging even on the way down.
Yeah.
Or you could choose another path like Clip Gorge.
Okay.
It's more gradual and less technical. Muki Venture will talk about the options and help you choose what works best for your group.
I like that flexibility. So what's the best time of year to do this hike?
Well, Table Mountain is famous for its unpredictable weather.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. You can have sun, wind, and rain all in the same day.
Wow.
So Muki Venture recommends hiking in the drier months from October to April.
Okay.
But even then, be prepared for anything.
Sounds like I need to pack some layers.
You will.
So I imagine all sorts of people hiking this trail, from experienced adventurers to families, even some first-timers.
Oh, yeah.
Does the source material say anything about who this hike is best for?
Well, Muki Venture welcomes hikers of all levels, from pros to beginners.
Okay.
They say it's not about conquering the mountain,
Right.
but enjoying the journey and challenging yourself at your own pace.
I like that. So let's talk money. Does the source material say anything about how much this guided hike costs?
Pricing varies depending on the size of the group and any special requests.
Okay.
It's best to contact them directly for a quote.
Makes sense. So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
The different landscapes, the magic of the summit descent options, best time to go, who this hike is best for. We've really painted a vivid picture.
We have.
But before we wrap up this part, is there anything else we should touch on?
Well, we've talked about the physical and logistical things,
Right.
but we haven't explored the deeper meaning. Skeleton Gorge isn't just a challenging trail.
Right.
It's a gateway to understanding the ecology and cultural history of Table Mountain, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So in the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore that bigger picture.
Yes.
The impact of hiking on this environment and how we can be responsible.
Absolutely.
Okay, so stay tuned. All right, so we're back for the final part of our Skeleton Gorge deep dive, and I think it's time to kind of shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
We've talked about the excitement of the climb and the logistics, getting there, what to pack.
Right.
But I want to step back and consider the bigger picture here.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of planning a trip,
Right.
but it's important to think about the impact that we have on these natural spaces.
Exactly.
Table Mountain isn't just a pretty background.
Right.
It's a biodiversity hotspot.
Wow.
It's a living museum of unique plants and animals, many of which aren't found anywhere else.
So we're not just talking about checking something off the bucket list here.
Yeah.
We're talking about going to a really special place that requires respect and responsibility.
Absolutely.
So what can hikers do to make sure they're not leaving a negative impact on this environment?
Well, thankfully, that's something that Muki Venture takes very seriously.
Okay.
They incorporate responsible tourism practices into all their guided hikes.
Okay, great.
And they start by educating hikers about the importance of staying on the trails.
Yeah, that seems simple enough.
It is.
But it's probably really important.
It's crucial for preventing erosion and protecting the fynbos.
The fynbos.
Yeah, it's this diverse shrubland that's unique to South Africa.
Wow. So it's easy to think, oh, I'll just take a little shortcut.
Right.
But that can really add up.
Exactly. When you've got hundreds of hikers doing that, it has a big impact.
Yeah, and I guess it goes beyond just staying on the trail.
It does.
What about, like, trash?
Right. They're really strict about packing out everything you bring in, even things that you might think are biodegradable.
Like banana peels and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. It can attract animals and disrupt the natural balance.
It's about remembering that we're visitors.
Yes.
We need to be respectful.
You do.
So it's not just about minimizing our negative impact,
Yeah.
but also contributing to conservation efforts.
Exactly. And Muki Venture is really great about that.
Okay.
They regularly participate in trail maintenance and cleanups,
Oh, wow.
and they encourage their guests to do the same.
That's awesome.
It's not just about taking, it's about giving back.
I love that.
Yeah.
And, even if you can't physically participate in those activities,
Right.
you can still support conservation by choosing tour operators like Muki Venture
Exactly.
who prioritize sustainability.
They often partner with local organizations and donate to conservation efforts.
So by choosing the right guide, you can actually have a positive impact.
Absolutely.
That's great.
And when you reach that summit and you know that you've challenged yourself but also contributed to preserving this place,
Right.
It adds so much meaning to the experience.
So as we wrap up our Skeleton Gorge deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listener to take away from all of this?
I want them to remember that every step we take in nature leaves a footprint.
Yeah.
But by making conscious choices,
Right.
by choosing sustainable operators,
Yeah.
by respecting the environment, we can make sure that places like Skeleton Gorge and Table Mountain are around for a long time.
I love that. So we've really covered it all, from packing your backpack to the challenges of the trail to the importance of protecting these beautiful places. So to our listener out there, as you prepare for your Skeleton Gorge adventure, embrace the challenge, soak in the beauty, and remember to leave only footprints behind. Happy hiking.